Yes, the pandemic. Yep, that's what this would be. The coronavirus, the pandemic. Planned years in advance. You know, I was talking to a friend, longtime friend who called me this morning, and she was telling me about her kids. Of course, they're all adults now, been adults for a long time, because this friend goes back many years. But she was telling me about it. One of her sons had read a book. This book was wrote like back in 1990 or 91, in around that area. And in the book, okay, it was wrote by a female, had said clearly in the book that in 2020 there'd be a pandemic. I call that a plandemic, okay? And if you really pay attention hard enough and pay attention to what's really going on, you'll see that this was all planned. You know, I would put money on it that the videos that we've been seeing out of China were from a year, 2 years ago, and they went in and paid people and had them put on a mask and filmed them, and these people got some money for something quick and simple and went on their way and never gave it a second thought. And I'm sure these reports, a lot of the video footage that we've been seeing out of China, it's just exactly that. And then you think about it in another light. Beginning of the week before Trump declared a state of emergency, the CDC was up live talking about this very issue and wanting Trump to declare the state of emergency, which now has happened, okay? And they were talking about they needed $12 million in funding. That was the CDC. And they started off talking about Corona. Then they went into $12 million worth of money they needed in order to handle this. And then they had the list of things they were going to be going after with the $12 million. And the first thing on the list, the very first thing on that list was influenza. So how did influenza get brought up in the middle of, well, a pandemic, okay, planned, okay? How did influenza get brought up? Well, you know, and then I watched another story which was complete BS, where they flipped everything upside down on its head, and that's what we're good for over here in America, yeah? Yep. Coronavirus is a vaccination that's been given to animals for years. Coronavirus has been around for many years. Animals cannot spread coronavirus to humans. No, it's not possible. But yet, you got stories that was created in a lab and that's how it got to us. I don't even believe that anymore. I pay attention and I watch. Okay? Well, there's a reason they're asking for $12 million and influenza was at the top of the list. Well, because influenza is what everybody got their vaccination shots for when they were children. It's one of the vaccination shots given to us to prevent us from getting influenza. But if they introduce influenza onto the public and tell them it's corona, well, when you study influenza A and you study corona, well, the coronavirus that hits animals, well, influenza A is pretty much the same for humans. Okay, it really is. It's pretty much the same for humans. So that's where I do believe, in my opinion, that what's taken place is this was planned many years ago. Last year, 2019, they probably made this footage up over the course of the year and archived it and held on to it for the beginning of the year when they were going to introduce the virus to the public. Something else I've noticed, you know, over the last decade or a little better than a decade, every 4 years we have the election, we have fear porn, but we also have something else. The State of the Union address given by the President of the United States. Okay? That's been going on for many decades. And every year, once a year, they have it. Okay? So we have the State of the Union address by the President of the United States once a year in the United States. It's been going on for many decades. And for many decades, the president would talk about the United States, not global. But since Bush Jr., the State of the Union address has been talking about global problems. So we switched off of talking about just the United States on the State of the Union address to talking about global. So see, it's been in your face. The free test kits. Well, congratulations, sheep. They've been trying to build their DNA database for a long time now. And they've had a lot of trouble getting that off the ground because of the fact that getting a hold of people's DNA that ain't just born wasn't an easy thing for them to do. They'd have to go to every hospital and try to pull each patient to get it and blah, blah, blah. And then that could violate laws and rights of people and invasion of privacy by the government. Well, they don't got to worry about that now, do they? They gave you the free DNA kit. It's absolutely free. All you got to do is go through one of the drive-thrus at Walmart and get your tongue swabbed, and you're on your way. That's right. They got your DNA. So congratulations. While you're busy panicking and running down and giving them your DNA, so now they can finish creating their DNA database. Congratulations, sheep. And then what you're seeing here, this is from my nephew. So yesterday, Trump declared a state of emergency. Wow, overnight. Look at here. This is from up in the Newport Rich area of Florida. Okay, this is where this picture's from. Okay, my thing's not working correctly here for me, so you'll have to bear with me. There it is. Okay, then we got this picture. This was just taken an hour or so ago at my local Walmart. That's right. How? What do you see? Yep, once a state of emergency was declared, lo and behold, we don't have an issue. I got one more, but man, this program's just messing up right now, isn't it? Yep, it sure is. I'm trying to get it to do what it's supposed to. There it is. The other arrow belonged there to begin with. And then we have one more. Okay, simple pictures, but I wanted you to see them. This is what you call panic. This is what you call no care. This demonstrates how people absolutely have no care. They'll panic and empty the shelves buying overconsumption for themselves and not giving a flying F about if anybody else is able to get. Now, can you imagine if we go into a full state of a panic and they shut down all transportation? That's right. Can you imagine that? What it's going to look like? It's not going to be pretty. No, it's not. It's actually going to be awful. It's going to be like this, but every single aisle. And then within a week, this happened overnight. You're looking at stuff that happened overnight here. Okay? Just since declaring a national emergency, this stuff took place. So I wanted you to see this because this stuff took place just that quick. And they shouldn't have. By no means should this be happening, but it is. You know, toilet paper, canned goods, water, yeah, hand sanitizers, all flying off the shelves. You know, SBO said it was happening in his area of the shelves, and I didn't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all. And here it is crossing America. The planned demic. That's right, planned. It's not a pandemic, it's a planned. This has been deliberately engineered. The lies that they're going to feed you is complete hogwash. You know, the red flag should have been from the CDC itself. When they did a live press conference here at the beginning of the week, and I listened to it, and they talked about the coronavirus at the beginning, and then they talked about the funding that they need, and they needed Trump to declare a state of emergency to open up the funding to fight the pandemic, planned demic, okay? And this guy went through the list of what they need the $12 million for, and the very first thing on the list was influenza. Okay? If the virus is corona, and you're asking for emergency funding through a national pandemic, which is, you know, which has just been declared a state of emergency through the powers of them declaring a state of emergency, you can open up and get these funds, money. That's right. As you're fighting corona, well, then why was the first thing on the list of where the money's going to be used to fight corona, and the first thing on the list was influenza? Right out the CDC's mouth. They literally said it in your face. They actually told you what's really going around. But they don't want you to know that because that was one of the vaccination shots. And because the symptoms in animals for coronavirus and what coronavirus does to animals is the same thing influenza A does to humans. Well, if you're going to have to make massive amounts of drugs to cure a pandemic, and you don't want them to know it's something that they've already been supposedly vaccinated for, then you can't use that name because people who will remember that would say, wait a minute, we shouldn't be able to get that because we were already protected by that shot. And they knew that shot was complete BS. That's right, they sold you snake oil. Well, so they just took and created the new strain of corona, which is actually influenza. So people are getting influenza A. Oh, I know, I'm going to say that. They're not getting corona. Corona's the lie. That's what corona is. It's the propaganda. It's the real lie. It's not the real truth. They even had a female speaker come up and she totally flipped everything on its head. She even told you there's several strains of corona and that this strain's a brand new strain and it's coming right from the animal to the human. Bullshit. That's what that is. That's complete lies. It's garbage. It's not even true. If you want what's true, you got to pay attention. They told you what was true. The CDC did. I thank them for that. I really do. I'm telling the CDC, thank you. You made it very clear. You needed the president to declare a state of emergency before he had done it so that it would open up funding so you could get $12 million to fight the coronavirus. And then you went on with a list of things that you need the $12 million for. And you never even mentioned corona. On the top of the list was influenza. Well, yeah, I guess you'd want more money for the cure for influenza, wouldn't you? But you can't use that name, can you? Legitimately, you don't want to use it because it might expose your lie, huh? So you gave influenza a new name called corona. Yeah. And lied to the public like you always do. This is what alternative media and mainstream media do on a regular basis. They're great little order followers, and they follow their orders. And that's what they done. They followed their orders. And they read their scripts, and that's what they reported to you. Meanwhile, we're probably going to ramp this up even some more. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you know, but right here proves my point. When you have a situation, okay, I'm going to have to exit that off again. That program's really messing with me. If you have a situation like this, okay, overnight in my area to have this right here happen, then you need to really question it. How do we wind up overnight having this many empty shelves? It's not because of the massive amount of people, it's the amount of items people are buying. They're so panicked they want to make sure they have enough to go months. They don't care if anybody else can't get because they took it all. No, that's the ultimate selfishness that we experience in today's society. That's what you're seeing here. You're seeing examples of the ultimate selfishness. When people panic, this is what's going to happen. So can you imagine? They declare martial law. They shut down all forms of transportation. You don't want that to happen. Because if they declare martial law and they decide to shut down forms of transportation, well, there could be a lot of truckers not making deliveries, which means food won't arrive at your stores. Oh, you let the public figure that one out. You walk into a Super Walmart or a Hy-Vee or a Cubs or a Winn-Dixie or a Publix. You'll walk into these grocery stores and this is what you'll see is empty shelves everywhere. There won't be nothing to buy. Within a week, the stores will be empty everywhere across this country. Within a week, all the shelves in entire stores will look like these 2 hours right here. There'll be nothing on them. There'll be no more being shipped. This is when all hell will break loose. Because these people who hoarded all of this, well, for the people that you didn't allow to get any because you were hoarding and you didn't care about, bad things could happen, man. You better look out. People be coming through your door with intents of doing bodily harm to steal your food. Because it's in panic. Everybody's in panic mode. I also suggest that that'll lead to, this behavior right here will lead to military on your streets. And you will never get the military off your streets again. It'll be permanent. And yes, the United States will change in a way that it's never been. And you will be officially introduced to third world nation status. Military will be now policing your streets and never be removed from your streets. Yep, take that to the bank. That's about where we're going to go. Okay, in my feelings, and what I see, and in my opinion, this is what we're going to see happen. Because all of the idiots out here that are panicking, all of the non-thinkers, all of the people that believe in the lies, they're going to run right down there and give them their national DNA database. Thank you, sheep. Great job. Because after all, now the test kits that were $15 and $2,000 and $2,500, I've seen different prices on it, okay? Now they're going to be free to everybody. Well, of course they're going to be free to everybody, even if you ain't got insurance. You get to get your tongue swabbed for free. Sure do. Get to help them create what they've always wanted, their national DNA database. So, you know, and this behavior right here is sickening. It's disgusting. It's piggish, selfish behavior. But they knew you would do this, and so did I. I knew that if an emergency happened, people would do this. And you all proved it, without a shadow of a doubt. And if it gets worse, this is what you'll see in every grocery store, everywhere you go, convenience stores and all. Empty shelves. All within a week, across the entire country. And then within a week or two after that, you'll see break-ins, home invasions, lots of violence. People are fighting on the streets to get their hands on food. They'll let it go for a while and they'll bring in the military and take control. Then they'll open up certain shipments of food to be brought in and they'll control it. That's right. They will control it. You'll have to fucking be now totally under control just to do something as simple as go and buy groceries for your house. You have to be controlled like your little children and told how much you're allowed to buy for so many people per household and make it last, slave. That's right. That's where you're headed, people. So you might want to get ready for it because that's what I'm seeing coming. They're going to use this to step it up and take more freedoms away from you. They're going to use this to get their database. They're going to use this to, well, furtherly enslave you. We have just upped the antes. And thanks to all the non-believers and all the cowards that wouldn't stand up for themselves in America, not the land of the brave, the land of the cowards, the land of the enslaved, not free, the land of the free to be enslaved. They all agree with being a slave. And they're not going to like the next few steps. We're going to have to wait it out, of course, and see how it really plays out. But in my opinion, it's going to escalate to a point of them declaring martial law. And last but not least, I would agree with Monograph. I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but I would agree with Monograph. On what? On everything I said and one more thing. That I would actually agree with Monograph. See, I gave Monograph the award for the most fear porn that I'd seen in 2020 that he should have a trophy and a ribbon. Okay? But I told you I didn't disagree with everything he said. No, not at all. And even if I did, it don't mean he couldn't still be right. I mean, I'm sorry, that's just how I feel. But there's one thing he did say that I totally agree with all the way across the board. Because he had already started. It sure did. That's in Sweden. See, they already did away with banks and ATM machines. Sweden's already a cashless society. Not all of Sweden, but parts of Sweden. They've already started implementing a cashless society. They want a cashless society. And they're moving towards that. Well, here's the great excuse to create a cashless society out of a whole country at one time, the United States. How would we do that? Well, if you're handling money and you pass money over to somebody and you have influenza, coronavirus, okay, you have the influenza, the corona influenza, okay, the false name corona, you have influenza. Well, it might rest on the surface and last, and it might be on your money. You might pass your money to somebody else that handled it with their hands and then rubbed their eyes or rubbed their nose or whatever, or was eating and got on their food, and now it's in their stomach, and now they got influenza, corona, right? Well, we trying to get rid of it. We don't want the spread. So I guess we'll have to do away with the cash now. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go to a cashless society for your own protection. Okay? But it will be for your own protection, okay? And this way, but don't worry, you'll still be able to get your items. You just won't have cash no more, that's all. Now you can swipe your card, and pretty soon they might even introduce a chip to go on your wrist or something in your hand. And you might even be gullible enough to say, yeah, it's my own security. Yep, and run right down and do it, right, sheep? Yep, but I suggest everything I've said is probably what you're going to see happen. I think America is going to change in ways people ain't used to. And I guarantee you this, if military hits your streets, you'll probably never see them leave your streets. Nope. Have you ever been to a third world nation? I have. I've been on the other side of the Philippines, way the other side from Manila. And I know what I saw over there. Their streets and their highways was policed by military. They stopped buses and military with M16s, climbed on that bus, walked up down the aisle, stared everybody down, and got off the bus and let them go on their way. Because, see, in third world nations like there, you went to a store and you had military outside the store with tables, and you had to empty your pockets and take all belongings out of your pocket except your cash before you could go in the store. You came back out and they give your stuff back to you and you went on your way. Went to a pawn shop, military standing outside the doors. Went to a bank, well, two outside, two inside, all of them armed with M16s. I don't think you'd be robbing a bank over there, no. But that's what you're going to get used to here in America. You sure are. This is where this is bringing you. Now, this is my opinion from what I'm seeing going on. So I would agree with Monty Graff that there's a good chance they could decide to do away with your currency now. Not that they will, because they may not. It's only an opinion. But I agree with Monty on that. And I don't care if I'm not right, because I'd rather not be right. Okay, but I totally agree with Monty Graff on that. And I'm not going to buck him for the stuff that he says that I know, that I agree, and what I see actually going on. I'm awake to a whole lot of levels than a lot of people are. And I know Monty Graff says a lot of stuff that was off the wall that I wouldn't buy into. Okay? But when you can pull the truth from the lie, just like with the CDC, national broadcast before state of emergency was declared by Trump, calling for Trump to declare a state of emergency, wanting $12 million in funding, and the first thing on the list was influenza. Well, wouldn't have the first thing on the list been corona? But if influenza and corona are one and the same, because they are one and the same, and no, you cannot get it from an animal or a bat or anything like that. No. Okay? But if they dropped influenza on the streets and called it corona, they'd have to. They'd have to give it a new name and have it be a brand new strain of a brand new propaganda. But in order to cure it, well, they would have to have more funding of influenza, wouldn't they? Yeah, they would, wouldn't they? Would that be why that influenza was at the top of the list? When the guy from the CDC on a national broadcast read the list of things they wanted the $12 million for, when it was all based on the corona, and the first thing on that list was influenza? Red flag. He just told you what you're getting. Yeah, because you can't get corona from animals. No, that's a lie. And I don't care. This gal got up there and tried to fucking break it all down and explain it to you. Yeah, she explained the propaganda to you. She read her script. That's what she did. She memorized that script. And she did what they always do, flip the truth upside down on its head. See, this is not a pandemic. This is a plandemic. And that's about what I had to say. So I'll get off here now. Let you guys swallow on this for a little while. And then I'll be up here tonight with the TFL Live, Saturday Night Live tonight at 9 o'clock. And for whoever's going to be there, I'll see you over there then. But I just wanted to get this out here because I thought it was important to have a little say-so about what I'm seeing, in my own opinion. And let's just play it out and see what happens, guys. I do suspect this will be done and gone by the time we get to the election. By the time we get past the middle of the year, this will be old news. But whatever changes comes out of this will still be in your face. Like possibly military on your streets. And remember this, when you're looking at these empty shelves, it could get a whole lot worse. Because they could literally declare martial law and shut down all forms of transportation. They're already talking about shutting down all flights, even domestic. That's already been talked about. I heard it today. See, if they declared martial law under this, then yeah, they'll shut down all forms of transportation, including trucking. So much for the food going to the stores, and you let people figure that out, and every freaking fucking store that sells food, this is what your shelves will look like within a week. Every last one of them, all across this country. And there ain't no way that they can even keep up with it in shipping. Then panic will happen, then people will start robbing and killing other people for their food, and then here comes the military to take back the law and order. Then they release more shipments of food, and now it's being controlled. And it never changes. It stays that way and stays that way. Even when the pandemic's totally gone and the election still goes on, you'll probably see Trump in for another 4 years, and the military will still be on your streets, and the amount of stuff you'll be able to buy will be being controlled. That's right. And you'll be having curfews, be in or get shot or killed, who knows. I'm not going to go into too much fear porn on this, because I don't know how far that'll actually go, but I can see him doing this, okay? I really can. Welcome to a new decade. I mean, the beginning of 2000, we had 9/11. Now we're going to begin 2020 with a pandemic that was wrote about in 91. Interesting, 1991, in around that area. It was actually wrote about by a female in her book about this very situation happening in 2020. And man, as soon as 2020 got here it is. Huh. I would say she wasn't a psychic. I would say she was in the know. She was told ahead of time. And the elite always did say they would tell us what they were going to do, then they would do it, and we would do nothing about it. Well, it appears that's exactly what's happened once again. And all of you people acted the exact way I knew you would. Right there, it's in your face, empty shelves. So how many people didn't get to buy any of the stuff that you people hoarded? See, you hoarded it. You think you're going to be the sole keeper of it. You're going to survive, and you're going to push your little eugenics theory about survival of the fittest. Well, I hope you enjoy a gang of people coming through your door in the middle of the night in America armed and not caring if they shoot and kill you to steal your food. Now you went out and hoarded it and kept them from having it. Now they're taking it from you at gunpoint. Pretty damn pathetic. That's what happens when you get the ultimate selfishness. Anyhow, I'm out of here. I'll see you tonight.